Hey, welcome to my channel. As many of you know, I love camera drones, such as the Typhoon H, the Mavic, and all the Phantoms. Camera drones are pretty cool, but you know, for the year 2017, I thought, I gotta try something different. So I'm going to keep doing the camera drone thing, but I'm also gonna get into FPV Racer Drones. Now, these things are becoming extremely popular. TV shows are picking them up. You start to see them around all your parks. Everybody seems to be flying them. And even big companies like DJI are getting into the mix. They're making parts for them, and pretty soon they'll have their own racer drone. And I wouldn't be surprised if big companies like Unique also get into the mix and have their own racer drone. FPV flying, how hard could it be? Yeah, so that's what I thought in late December of 2016. Well, it turns out I'm a total noob. And FPV Racer Drones, FYI, those things are friggin' unsophisticated. Camera drones, sophisticated. FPV Racer Drones, unsophisticated. So when you try to fly something that's not very sophisticated and you're expecting it to handle like a sophisticated camera drone, well, a lot of crap's gonna happen. Yeah, so I'm giving the FPV Racer Drones a bit of a hard time, but in reality, it's my fault. I've been flying camera drones and I've developed a lot of bad habits. If you come right from the street and you fly FPV Racer Drones, that's your first drone you fly, you're gonna do well. But if you're like me and anybody else been flying camera drones, you've developed so many bad habits that you're not gonna do well. So here we go, here's my story so far. In late December 2016, I ordered this Eachine Falcon 250 quad racer. It came with this kinda Toys R Us looking controller, a case, 3-cell battery, crappy charger, and 0 instructions. Now, camera drones are elegant, intelligent, well put together drones. On the other hand, FPV racing drones, not so much. It's almost like these drones are like, it's like you're back in high school, shop class, and you're making a birdhouse that's a piece of junk, but you know that it doesn't matter because you're gonna smash it to pieces many times and then glue it back together. If you wish to enter the world of FPV drone racers, this is what you'll need. An FPV race quad. You can build it from scratch yourself or get one already assembled. You're going to need a transmitter, which is also called a controller. You'll need LiPo batteries, and the most common sizes are 3S or 4S. You'll need a battery charger, and of course you'll need FPV goggles. Main parts of the FPV race quad. The FPV camera is for the pilot to see where the heck you're flying. It's essentially a $10 backup camera from a Hyundai with a super low resolution. It's not 4K, it's not 2K, it's not even 1K. These things fly on a race band within the 5.8 gigahertz spectrum. The video signal is shot out this cloverleaf antenna and it's not encoded, so there is tons of interference. If you want good video quality, you must attach a GoPro or some other recording device like a Mobius or a Runcam. There's a tiny flight controller inside that looks as if it was designed by the Russians back in 1960. In other words, it does the basic of things based on your stick input on your transmitter. These little antennas out the back attach to a receiver that receives the inputs from your transmitter. The receiver talks to the flight controller thingy. The receiver is on the 2.4 gigahertz band. The brushless motors each have an ESC, and ESC stands for Electronic Speed Controller, which are not that different from the ESCs in the high-end camera drones like on the Phantoms or the Typhoon H. They control the speed and direction of the motors. Power for these FPV racing drones comes from LiPo batteries that are not in a hard case, and they sit millimeters from the spinning props, which can tear them apart and cause them to explode into flames. Not that that's happened, but I have chopped the wires and repaired them. Oh, and on these FPV racers, everything is encased in a carbon fiber body designed to be light yet strong enough to stay in one piece upon impact. That's the theory anyways, and it pretty much does work. Oh, and one thing I found out, carbon fiber is not a good insulator of electricity. So it's a darn good thing that these quads run on a very low voltage. Okay, so now on to my nightmare flying this stupid thing. Let me just say first off that it's not going to be pretty. I'm like an overweight cow on skates on thin ice flying this thing. In other words, I'm going to crash and fail, and pretty much that's exactly what happens. So here's my story. In late December 2016, I received the Falcon 250 and I took it outside for its maiden flight. It's winter here, tons of snow on the ground, so I thought if I crashed it, not a big deal, the ground is soft. Well, the design of the motors causes the Falcon to immediately fly forward upon liftoff. So what happened was it took off from the ground and flew directly into my fence. Didn't even have a chance to crash into the snow, crashed into the fence. So I brought it inside, the snow melted all around it, and when I plugged the battery back in, I blew an ESC. So I had to replace that. It's a good idea to also own and know how to use a soldering iron. So in early January, I took the drone to a larger field. No fences around. It was a dull, overcast day. Here we are, January. It's pretty darn cold out, and I've got the Eachine Racer, and this is the Falcon. This one here, Falcon 250. I'm going to, for the second time, give it a flight. The first time I flew this, it crashed in my backyard, fell in the snow, and then I blew one of the ESCs because it got all wet, full of water. So this time, I'm just going to see how it goes out in the field. I flew the drone line of sight, but I quickly lost sight of it because of the dull overcast day. So I instinctively spun it around to have it fly back to me. Only problem was I didn't adjust the throttle, I couldn't see it, and when you spin these things around, whatever direction they're flying, they just keep flying in that direction. And if you don't adjust the throttle, they're going to fly into the ground, as what happened with me. The only damage was to the external camera mount. It came flying off, and I lost one of the rubber dampeners. Before flight number 3, I took off the motor mounts in order to stop the stupid quad from flying forward each time it left the ground. This would give me more control at hovering it. Just taking off the motor mounts here because this here Falcon is flying forward too fast, so that one still has a motor mount on it. As you can see, it tilts the motors forward, so when this Falcon goes to hover upon takeoff, it just zoom takes off forward. That's not too good for a guy like me who's just learning how to fly. Also, my last crash, I lost one of my little rubber thingies here. That's no problem, I can get another one of those. So, test this out after I take off the motor mounts and see how it works. On this test, I thought I'm going to fly with FPV goggles. How hard could it be? Well, it was a snowy day and it was a dull day, and it kind of makes it difficult when you're looking through FPV goggles to pick out landmarks. Alright, third time is the charm, I'm told. Anyway, so I'm going to try this again. I've taken off the motor mounts so it doesn't drift forward as fast. And, well, let's see, I'm going to try it out in this field. Just try to go forward, turn around and come back. Let's see. Third try is the charm. We'll see. So I'm flying around, and it looks like here in the video I'm avoiding trees on this flight, but honestly I have no idea where I'm flying, and it's just luck that I'm missing everything. Finally, the quad just smashes into the snow, but the snow is soft, so no damage to the quad. Finally, a sunny day. I thought flying FPV on a sunny day in the snow would be better. I thought I could pick out the sky, the ground, the trees. Well, guess what? The snow's white, and with the sun shining, the sun is white. So it can really mess up your orientation. Finally, the snow has stopped, and we've got some sun happening. So I'm going to give this little baby a try again. It's a piece of crap, but we'll see how it goes today. Fourth time. I was getting the hang of it to control the drone a bit better. This was my fourth flight. I flew low to the ground just in case I was going to crash so there wouldn't be too much damage. But as you can see in this video, I flew into a fence post. If you wish to see what it looked like through my FPV goggles, well, I recorded some of the video and here it is. Alright, I'm going to have to try this without FPV because it just landed in the snow. Here we are. Not too much damage. One of the motors became compacted with snow and stopped working. So I dried it out for half a day and then everything started working again. Another sunny day, but this time it's actually warm and the snow is melting everywhere. This is in the month of February, not too long ago. I flew the quad around a parking lot, getting used to the FPV goggles, and I was having a pretty good time. Then I crashed into a snowbank, and with everything melting, I got snow into an ESC and it melted, which made the ESC short out. But it didn't short out until I connected a new battery. All right, so that wasn't a good flight. This ESC right here, this one right here, put the light on it. Yeah, that one got water in it and it just blew with the battery power. So I have to replace another ESC. So here we are the month of March, and I've only flown it 5 times. I replaced the ESC right here. You can see a little bit of yellow where I've replaced it. And I've also replaced the landing legs on it. I didn't like the carbon fiber ones that were on it. I'm going to post 2 videos coming up over the month, and it will show how I replaced the ESC and how I replaced the landing legs, just in case someone else has a Falcon 250 and they have to do some repairs or some replacements, modifications. I should also mention that I've been practicing my indoor FPV skills with this Blade Inductrix, which I can fly inside my house at high speeds and even outdoors. It certainly helps with better hand-eye coordination when flying FPV. Also, as you can see on the wall behind me, I did purchase some really good FPV race quads, but I have no intentions of flying them until I get better at flying the Falcon. The Falcon is my go-to quad for practice and learning, and if I break it into a million parts, well, I'd rather do it on that than one of these much more expensive quads. So there you have it. There's my FPV adventures so far. I got to get better at this because there's only so many fences I can hit. I got to run out of fences soon, so I'm going to get better at flying. So I would suggest if you're new to this FPV racing quad world and you're learning as I am, then subscribe to my channel and watch as I go forth, because as I carry on my journey and do flight 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatnot, it's going to be here on a video as well. And as I learn more things about quads, I'll post them here as well. So this is great for beginners. So until next time, we'll see you then.